a lot of people know that follow me already. I generally, when I rent a little bit under market. I keep rents a little bit low, because if the economy does take a dive and does turn down, I don't want my tenants to leave. When I went to buy this, I gave these guys an offer of $320,000. He said, well, my wife is not going to allow it unless she hears 400. She's got to hear 400,000. I played with the numbers, and I go, okay, I'll give you 400,000. But we reduced the interest rate to like 3.5% interest.
Which is actually a lower payment for you than... Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. I'm here with Tom from FlipAnythingUSA. You guys probably seen the video. I did an interview with him earlier, and Manny from 2000 Books. And we're actually here in Austin today. Tom has agreed to show us around. Tom is like my big real estate mentor. You know, I've been teaching you guys about the real estate deals that I do, mostly very small residential. I've got 26 units, but Tom is he's the guru. He really takes, if you want to take it to the next level. And so what we're going to do is we're just kind of looking at some of Tom's properties. He's kind of answering questions, kind of mentoring us. Everyone needs a mentor. It doesn't matter where you're at in life, and so that's what we're doing here. So yeah,
they really want to know that you're going to close, and I always make everybody 100% comfortable as I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to close. My history is I close every deal, and I'm not 100% true. There's things that have happened, or I discover things that I didn't know about a property. But in general, that's what you want to be known as. You want to be known as a guy,
a closer,
that has integrity, that's a closer, and that doesn't renegotiate after you make the deal. Right. Now, there's some guys that are absolute snakes.
Yeah.
They go in, they get a long escrow, and then during that long escrow, they beat them up on the property and say, oh, we got to knock the price, and they complain about everything.
Yeah.
But they don't put anything in writing. And that's why it's important when you sell a property, you have certain checks and balances. Like, yeah, you can look at it for 30 days, but after 30 days, your $20,000 deposit is now mine.
Yeah.
And it will be released from escrow into my pocket.
Right.
And when you hit the next, milestone, which might be 40 days, you go, at that point, you put in another $20,000, or you close. And if you don't close, it's just automatic. We're already agreeing from the very beginning that you are dropping this. You are not buying this, and we're done.
Right.
And sometimes it's more important. Otherwise, because people get in open-ended deals where nothing's really cut and dry.
Right.
And they make mistakes. It's funny. I sold a property for almost $3 million, and we did so much haggling back and forth that the buyer's agent, he forgot his commission.
Oh no!
And he was getting $30,000.
Oh god!
And we wrapped that up, and I caught it.
Yeah.
And so we go to close, and so I let it close, and we were about to close that day, and the agent said, "Hey, this guy's asking about his commission check," and I go, "There ain't no commission in there." and so we closed it.
Right.
Oh, and he was just like, freakingly upset.
Oh, I'm sure.
But he was also getting another commission direct from the buyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I wasn't gonna. I don't screw people. I don't take advantage of them.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important too. Like every deal that I do, I check that closing statement. I check it twice to make sure every single line item on there is right. And then I always ask the title company for both sides. Because normally they just give you your, or at least.
Sometimes I try to hide it, but you can always request, because you want to, you want to look at it and make sure everything's cool and clean. And if you agree to split the fees, you want to see that the fees were split.
Yeah, I've been at the table multiple times too on deals where I found an error in the, and it was several $1,000s that would have been to my negative.
Absolutely. It's like I was telling John earlier and Manny here. I bought a property for $140,000 and I sold it for $520,000 like 3 weeks later. And I was trying to sell it quickly, and I put it up. I put a 12% commission on it, I think. 12% commission. I doubled, land generally is 10% and at the time, and 6% on everything else. Well, these guys didn't even take time to look at the listing, and they brought me the offer for $520,000, and they only wrote in a 6%.
Yeah.
Now that one I did not correct, because that was their doing.
Yeah.
But people get lazy and complacent, and it's, the devil's in the details, man. It's so important that you read everything, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and I do try to simplify because I don't like people to be afraid. For the most part, you know, just pay attention to the numbers. You know, you're going to borrow money from the bank. You can just sign all that stuff. It doesn't matter. You got no choice if you're going to borrow money.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. I tell anybody that's going to buy a home, number one, right now today, especially if you're going to borrow money, you got to go get pre-qualified.
Right, exactly.
So you'll go get a pre-qualified letter, and it's super important for you guys that are just starting. You got a decent job. That's the main thing. Have a decent job. Go to the bank. Even if you don't have a decent job, but you've been working there a year, it doesn't matter. Go to the bank and find out how much of a loan you qualify for.
Right. Exactly.
They're gonna. It's all just numbers. They're gonna examine and say, okay, we will loan you $100,000, you know, on a property that costs $120 or something. So you know that you're good for $100,000. They'll loan you $100,000, okay, or 200 or $1 million or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all relative. So they care about the same thing. They just want to know that you can pay your bills and that sort of thing. I don't think you should. Yeah, this is another property. This is,
okay.
Well, we're about at the moment. But what was your question again, Manny? So,
yeah, no. How do you develop the reputation that you will close, or how do you actually establish that you will close?
How to establish credibility without having much money? Okay, yeah. The only way you can do,
without when you're a novice, when you're a beginner.
Well, I always say it's kind of, you want to be honest,
right?
Because you're going to get caught up in a lie if you try. You know, you just you know. I tell the people that work for my other companies when they're selling products, I say, listen, don't pretend to have knowledge you don't. Just say that's what everybody else buys. Just tell them what everybody else buys. That's credibility in its own, in its way. And I go, but so when you're going to go buy a property and you're a novice, be friendly, be nice. When you're talking to the person that's selling you the property, don't pick the property apart.
Right.
They've been living there. They've been taking care of that place. They like it.
Yeah.
So some people have the attitude you're going to go in there and you're going to pick it apart. And all you're doing is pissing them off. You don't even realize. They don't even want to sell to you.
Yeah, for spite, they'll lose money. For
spite, they'll sell it for less to somebody else that appreciates it. That's how it is.
I do also, for the credibility, like when I was starting out, I would do big earnest money checks, and I would make the earnest money release soon. So like, if I come in on a $100,000 property and I came in with a $10,000 earnest money, and it's released you in 20 days or 30 days, they're like, okay, this guy's serious, and if he's not, we're gonna make 10 grand. So
right, and that's what I was gonna say. I use this term all the time. You test sincerity with the wallet.
Yeah,
that's the only way. And so I'm more of a buyer than a seller. So I do exactly what John says. I write the biggest down payment check, the biggest deposit check, and I have the shortest term escrow, and I have and I'm very quick to say I'm buying it as is.
Exactly, yeah.
And I have 10 days to satisfy myself that this thing is satisfactory to me.
Right.
Okay? And then I explain to the buyers, because they might, or the sellers, they might be a novice seller. Most people are.
Right.
You know, this is generally what happens. People buy a home and they live in it till they die.
Yeah, yeah.
Or they live in it till they upgrade to another home. And then meantime, you know, it's like I say, they buy 2 properties in 30 years. You know, or, you know, in the second, both of them, you know, they're one at a time is what they're doing. So, like I say, testing sincerity with the wallet, but also proving sincerity with the wallet. That will give you the most credibility. In fact, when you tell somebody, look, I'm going to write you a check for $10,000, I want a 20-day look. When I say look, that means 20 days to examine the property to make sure it's what I want, and you know, I'm happy, you haven't lied to me, everything's good. The title report, it's always reasonable to want to see a clear title report, make sure there's no liens or anything on the property. So you have this built-in way to get some time anyways, and you can utilize that time that you're claiming to need to look at the title report to go find a partner or whoever you need to get the money. And then, but you know that there's this drop dead date, meaning the time that you're about to lose your money, to cancel before then, if you have to. But generally, I never go into a deal ever with the intentions of canceling.
No.
I see money. In fact, I'm more nervous about getting it closed quickly so I can collect on that profit.
Right.
So that's the way to have the most credibility without really having the most credibility. With interest rates being so low, if you are a credible person, you know, there's always somebody with money in your town. Maybe it's your old boss that you work for, or, you know, everybody knows who Mr. Big is in town, right? You know, Mr. Big in real estate, Mr. Big in, you know, the whatever, the sawmill or whatever, it doesn't matter. So you may, if you find a great deal, that's your power. The power is the deal. And that's what makes me somebody that's fairly rich compared to somebody maybe that doesn't have anything. we both don't have a deal, right? So when one of us gets a deal, the difference is I don't need the guy that doesn't have money, okay?
Right.
But when he gets the deal, he still has something I want. I want a piece of that deal.
Right.
So he can come to me. In fact, I tell this story all the time. I went to my old boss. I found a deal. This is after I bought my first building. And I found this great deal, 4,000 square foot building. It was a foreclosure deal. And I was getting it pre-foreclosure. Nobody could find the people that were being foreclosed on except me. I found them. My old boss at that time. And I said, hey, John, man, I got this property. It's worth $250,000. And I can get it for $170,000. And so he came by, he went over and took a look, and he goes, hey, Tommy. He goes, man, this is a good deal.
Yeah.
And I go, well, let's buy it, man. We'll be partners. I don't have any money. He goes, well, problem is, he goes, I don't want any partners. He goes, how about if I give you $20,000 and I just buy it by myself? And I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
Exactly.
And so that's what we did. And then that was just another fantastic deal. I'm driving through here. It's checking something.